Learn to keep quiet in these situations. Need to remember, silence is often misunderstood as inaction or weakness, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is a discipline that reflects wisdom, self-control, and emotional intelligence. In a world that celebrates constant communication and immediate responses, silence stands out as a deliberate choice, a strategic pause that can de-escalate conflicts, foster understanding, and lead to better decisions. This guide explores the many situations where silence is not just beneficial, but essential, offering insights, anecdotes, and practical steps to help you harness its power in your personal and professional life. Silence in the face of anger and criticism. One of the most challenging yet rewarding times to practice silence is when you're confronted with anger or criticism. Imagine someone approaching you, their voice laced with frustration, their words sharp and accusatory. Your natural instinct might be to defend yourself, to explain your side, or to counterattack. After all, no one wants to be misunderstood or unfairly judged. But reacting in the heat of the moment often pours fuel on the fire, escalating the situation rather than resolving it. I learned this lesson early in my career during a heated exchange with a colleague. He stormed into my office, upset over a project decision he believed I'd mishandled. His accusations were relentless, and every fiber of my being wanted to interrupt, to prove he was wrong, to set the record straight. But I recognized that his emotions were too raw for a productive conversation. So, I chose silence. I sat there, listening to his every word, not reacting or defending myself. As he spoke, his anger began to lose its intensity. Without my response to fuel his frustration, he eventually ran out of steam. He left the room, still upset, but visibly deflated. Later that afternoon, he returned, calm and apologetic. We had a rational discussion, clarified the misunderstanding, and emerged with a stronger working relationship. This experience taught me a profound truth. Silence in the face of anger is not about surrender, it's about control. It's about recognizing that when emotions run high, words rarely penetrate. By staying silent, you give the other person space to vent, to process their feelings, and to regain composure. You also protect yourself from saying something impulsive that could worsen the situation. As I've often said, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Choosing silence is a sign of strength, not weakness. Consider this analogy. An angry confrontation is like a wildfire. You have two options. Throw more wood onto the blaze, making it roar higher, or step back and let it burn out on its own. Silence is the latter. It allows the flames of anger to subside naturally, creating space for a calmer, more constructive dialogue. This approach doesn't mean you're agreeing with the criticism or conceding fault. It simply means you're choosing not to escalate the conflict, preserving the possibility of resolution. Silence in these moments also protects your emotional well-being. When you react impulsively to anger, you risk being pulled into a cycle of negativity that can leave you drained or regretful. By staying quiet, you maintain your composure, keeping your emotions in check and your dignity intact. Over time, this practice builds resilience, allowing you to navigate tense situations with grace and confidence. Applying silence in everyday conflicts. To apply this principle in your life, start by recognizing the signs of an emotionally charged situation. Is the other person's tone heated? Are their words accusatory or irrational? These are cues that silence may be your best response. Instead of jumping in, take a deep breath and focus on listening. Pay attention to their words, body language, and emotions without planning your rebuttal. This act of presence not only diffuses tension, but also shows respect for the other person's perspective, even if you disagree. In personal relationships, this approach can be transformative. For example, during a disagreement with a spouse or friend, resisting the urge to interrupt or defend yourself can prevent a minor issue from escalating into a major conflict. By giving them space to express their feelings, you create an environment where both parties feel heard, paving the way for mutual understanding. In professional settings, Silence can enhance your reputation as a calm, thoughtful leader. Imagine a team meeting where a colleague criticizes your work in front of others. Instead of reacting defensively, you listen attentively, nod to acknowledge their perspective, and respond later when emotions have settled. This restraint demonstrates maturity and earns you respect from those who witness it. Silence when you lack all the facts. Another critical time to embrace silence is when you don't have all the information. In our fast-paced world, there's often pressure to contribute to discussions, offer opinions, or provide solutions immediately. But speaking without a full understanding of the situation can lead to mistakes, misunderstandings, or wasted effort. Witnessed this firsthand during a corporate strategy session years ago. A new team member, eager to prove himself, began proposing solutions to a complex problem before the issue had been fully explained. His ideas were well-intentioned, but completely off the mark because he hadn't taken the time to ask questions or listen to the context. As a result, the meeting became disorganized, with the team spending valuable time clarifying details that could have been addressed up front. Had he chosen silence, listening carefully to the problem's scope, his contributions could have been far more impactful. This scenario is all too common. Whether in meetings, debates, or casual conversations, people often feel compelled to speak to demonstrate their knowledge or engagement. But premature words can do more harm than good. Silence, on the other hand, is a sign of wisdom. It shows you're willing to learn, to gather the necessary facts, and to understand the situation before weighing in. There's a humorous saying that captures this idea. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. While light-hearted, it underscores the value of restraint. When you hold your tongue until you're informed, you avoid embarrassment and build credibility. People respect those who speak from knowledge rather than assumption, and your words carry more weight when they're grounded in understanding. Silence as a tool for learning. Silence in these situations is not about staying quiet forever. It's about listening until you have enough information to contribute meaningfully. This approach is particularly valuable in professional environments, where decisions can have significant consequences. For example, imagine you're part of a project team tasked with solving a technical issue. Instead of offering suggestions, based on partial information, you ask clarifying questions and listen to the experts. Your silence allows you to grasp the problem's nuances, enabling you to propose solutions that are relevant and effective. In personal life, this principle applies to conversations about sensitive topics such as politics or family disputes. Jumping in with an opinion without knowing the full context can escalate tensions or alienate others. By staying silent and listening, you gain a deeper understanding of different perspectives, which can lead to more thoughtful and respectful responses. To practice this form of silence, cultivate curiosity. When you're tempted to speak but sense you're missing key details, pause and ask yourself, do I have enough information to contribute something valuable? If not, focus on listening and asking questions. This habit not only enhances your understanding, but also positions you as someone who values knowledge over ego. Silence in moments of excitement. Excitement is a powerful motivator, but it can also cloud your judgment if left unchecked. When you're riding a wave of enthusiasm, perhaps after a major success, an inspiring event, or a new opportunity, it's easy to make bold promises or commitments. You feel unstoppable, ready to take on the world. But promises made in the heat of excitement are often unrealistic, leading to overcommitment and disappointment. I once met a young woman at a leadership seminar who was brimming with energy after a day of motivational talks. She approached me, declaring her plans to start a business, write a novel, and train for a triathlon, all within the next 6 months. Her passion was inspiring, but I could see she was caught up in the moment. A year later, I saw her again. She was exhausted and disheartened, having failed to achieve most of her goals. The problem wasn't her ambition, but her lack of restraint. She'd made commitments in a surge of excitement without considering her capacity or priorities. This scenario is all too common. In moments of high enthusiasm, we overestimate our abilities and underestimate the challenges ahead. When the initial rush fades, we're left with a mountain of promises we can't keep, which erodes our confidence and credibility. Silence in these moments is a safeguard, giving you time to let the excitement settle and evaluate what's truly achievable. Think of excitement as a powerful river current. It can propel you forward, but if you let it carry you without direction, you risk crashing into obstacles. Silence is the anchor that keeps you grounded, allowing you to channel your enthusiasm into realistic goals. By pausing to reflect, you ensure your commitments align with your resources, priorities, and long-term vision. Managing excitement with silence. To harness the power of silence in moments of excitement, practice the art of delay. When you feel the urge to make a big promise, whether to yourself or others, pause for at least 24 hours. Use this time to assess the feasibility of your plans. Ask yourself, do I have the time, energy, and resources to follow through? Is this commitment aligned with my core goals? This reflective pause prevents you from overextending yourself and sets you up for sustainable success. In professional settings, this approach can prevent costly mistakes. For example, imagine you're offered a high-profile project that seems exciting but demanding. Instead of immediately saying yes, thank the offerer and ask for time to consider. You use that silence to evaluate the project's scope, your current workload, and its potential impact on your career. This restraint ensures you only take on what you can handle effectively. In personal life, silence can protect your relationships. Enthusiasm might prompt you to volunteer for tasks, like organizing a family event or helping a friend move, that you later regret. By pausing before committing, you give yourself space to consider your availability and avoid letting others down. Silence. When someone shares something personal, when someone confides in you about their struggles, fears, or emotions, silence is often the most meaningful response. Too often, we feel compelled to offer advice, share a related experience, or say something to fix the situation. But in these moments, people don't always need solutions. They need to be heard, seen, and understood. I learned this lesson the hard way while mentoring a young colleague who was facing a personal crisis. He came to me, sharing his anxieties about his career and family. My instinct was to jump in with solutions, steps he could take, perspectives to adopt. I thought I was helping, but I later realized he wasn't looking for advice. He needed someone to listen, to sit with him in his vulnerability, to acknowledge his pain. By filling the space with my words, I missed an opportunity to connect with him on a deeper level. Silence in these situations is an act of presence. It shows the other person that you're fully engaged, that their story matters, and that you're not rushing to judge or solve their problems. The simple act of being heard can be profoundly healing, offering comfort and validation that words often can't provide. When someone shares something personal, resist the urge to speak immediately. Let them express themselves fully, and let your silence be a gift of empathy and understanding. The power of listening. This principle also reflects how we want to be treated when we share our own struggles. Think about a time when you confided in someone, only for them to interrupt with advice or a story of their own. It can feel dismissive, as if your experience isn't being fully acknowledged. Silence, on the other hand, creates a space for connection, allowing the speaker to feel valued and understood. In practice, this form of silence requires active listening. When someone opens up, focus on their words, tone, and emotions. Avoid planning your response while they're speaking. Instead, be fully present. Nod, maintain eye contact, and use subtle gestures to show you're engaged. If you feel compelled to speak, ask open-ended questions like, "How are you feeling about this?" or "What's been the hardest part?" These prompts encourage them to share more without shifting the focus to you. This approach is especially powerful in close relationships. For example, if a partner or child shares a concern, resisting the urge to offer immediate solutions can strengthen your bond. By listening silently, you show that their feelings are valid and important, fostering trust and intimacy. Silence. Before major decisions. Major decisions, whether about career moves, relationships, or personal goals, require careful consideration. Yet too often, people rush to declare their intentions or commit to a course of action without fully weighing the consequences. Silence before making a big decision gives you the space to reflect, evaluate your options, and avoid impulsive choices you might later regret. I once faced a tempting business opportunity that seemed like a game changer. The potential for growth was thrilling, and I was ready to sign on immediately. But a quiet voice in my mind urged me to pause. Instead of committing, I stayed silent, taking time to research the opportunity, consult with advisors, and assess the risks. That silence revealed challenges I hadn't initially seen, hidden costs, logistical hurdles, and market uncertainties. In the end, I decided not to pursue it, a choice that saved me from a potentially disastrous investment. Silence in decision-making isn't just about gathering external information, it's about cultivating inner clarity. When you quiet your mind, you allow your thoughts to settle, your intuition to surface, and your priorities to come into focus. This inner stillness often leads to the wisest choices, as it helps you see beyond the immediate excitement or pressure. The role of reflection, to practice silence before major decisions, build a habit of deliberate reflection. When faced with a significant choice, resist the urge to act or speak immediately. Instead, set aside time, whether an hour, a day, or a week, to think things through. Write down the pros and cons, consider the long-term implications, and consult trusted mentors or friends. This reflective pause ensures your decisions are grounded in reason rather than emotion. In professional contexts, this approach can prevent costly errors. For example, imagine you're offered a promotion that requires relocating. Instead of accepting on the spot, ask for time to consider. Use that silence to evaluate how the move would affect your family, finances, and career trajectory. This restraint ensures you make choices that align with your values and goals. In personal life, silence can guide decisions about relationships or major life changes. For instance, before proposing marriage or moving to a new city, take time to reflect on your motivations and readiness. Silence helps you distinguish between fleeting impulses and true convictions, leading to decisions you can stand by with confidence. Silence in the presence of greatness, when you're in the company of someone who has achieved what you aspire to, someone with greater wisdom, experience, or success. Silence is your greatest teacher. Too many people make the mistake of trying to impress these individuals, talking about their own accomplishments or ideas to prove their worth. But true learning comes from listening, not speaking. Early in my career, I had the privilege of working with a mentor named Mr. Ellis, a titan in the business world. Whenever I was around him, I made a conscious effort to stay quiet and absorb his insights. I wasn't there to show off my knowledge. I was there to learn from his decades of experience. His stories, strategies, and even his demeanor taught me lessons I couldn't have gained from books or seminars. But those lessons only sank in because I was willing to listen, to let his wisdom fill the space. Greatness doesn't need your validation. Those who have accomplished extraordinary things aren't impressed by how much you say. They're impressed by how much you're willing to learn. Silence in their presence shows humility and a hunger for growth. It positions you as a student, open to new perspectives and insights, learning from observation. This principle extends beyond individuals to any situation where you encounter something profound, a groundbreaking idea, a complex challenge, or a transformative experience. Silence allows you to fully absorb the moment, to gain perspective, and to appreciate the depth of what's before you. For example, when faced with a revolutionary concept at a conference, resist the urge to immediately share your thoughts. Instead, listen intently, take notes, and let the idea settle in your mind. This silence fosters deeper understanding and sparks creativity. To practice this form of silence, adopt the mindset of a lifelong learner. When you're in the presence of greatness, prioritize observation over expression. Ask thoughtful questions to deepen your understanding, but avoid dominating the conversation. Over time, This habit will enrich your knowledge and sharpen your ability to recognize and seize opportunities. Silence. When provoked, few situations test your self-control like provocation. Whether it's a co-worker spreading rumors, a friend making a snide remark, or a stranger trying to bait you, the urge to react can be overwhelming. But responding in the heat of the moment often plays into the provocateur's hands, giving them the reaction they want and potentially leading you to say or do something you'll regret. I once worked with a business owner who faced constant provocation from a rival. This competitor would criticize him publicly, spread false rumors, and do whatever he could to get a rise out of him. For a while, my colleague took the bait, engaging in verbal sparring that only fueled the rivalry. But one day, he decided to try a different approach. The next time his rival attacked, he stayed silent. He didn't respond, didn't acknowledge the insults, and simply focused on his work. Over time, the rival's provocations lost their power. Without a reaction to feed off, his attacks fell flat, and my colleague's reputation grew stronger as someone who couldn't be rattled. Silence in the face of provocation is a display of strength. It shows you're not swayed by negativity, that you control your emotions rather than letting others dictate them. It also has a disarming effect on the provocateur. They expect a fight, but when you refuse to engage, it forces them to confront their own behavior. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their negativity back at them. Maintaining dignity. Through silence, to practice silence when provoked, develop strategies to stay calm under pressure. When you feel your emotions rising, take slow, deep breaths to center yourself. Remind yourself that reacting impulsively rarely serves your interests. It only gives the provocateur power over you. Instead, focus on your long-term goals and values. Is this situation worth your energy? Will responding advance your objectives, or will it drag you into a pointless conflict? In professional settings, this approach can protect your reputation. For example, if a colleague tries to undermine you in a meeting, resist the urge to snap back. Instead, stay composed, address the issue later in private, or let their behavior speak for itself. This restraint demonstrates maturity and earns you respect from others. In personal life, silence can diffuse tensions with friends or family. If someone makes a hurtful comment, pausing before responding gives you time to process your emotions and choose a response that aligns with your values. Over time, this practice builds emotional resilience, allowing you to navigate provocation with confidence and grace. Silence in moments of uncertainty, another scenario where silence is invaluable, is when you're faced with uncertainty. Life is full of ambiguous situations, complex problems, unclear expectations, or unpredictable outcomes. In these moments, the pressure to speak or act can be intense, but silence often leads to better outcomes. I once advised a young manager who was tasked with leading a team through a major organizational change. The situation was fluid, with conflicting information and shifting priorities. She felt compelled to provide answers to her team's questions, even when she wasn't sure herself. But I encouraged her to embrace silence, to admit when she didn't, know something, and to listen to her team's concerns. By staying quiet and gathering input, she gained a clearer picture of the challenges and was able to develop a more effective strategy. Her silence not only built trust with her team, but also positioned her as a thoughtful leader. Silence in uncertainty allows you to collect information, process your thoughts, and avoid hasty decisions. It's a reminder that you don't need to have all the answers immediately. By pausing, you create space for clarity to emerge, whether through reflection, research, or collaboration. Navigating uncertainty with silence. To apply this principle, practice patience in ambiguous situations. When faced with uncertainty, resist the urge to fill the void with words or actions. Instead, ask questions, listen to others, and give yourself permission to say, "I need time to think about this." This approach not only reduces stress, but also leads to more informed and confident decisions. In professional contexts, silence in uncertainty can enhance your problem-solving skills. For example, if you're tasked with addressing a technical issue you don't fully understand, don't rush to propose solutions. Take time to study the problem, consult experts, and test ideas. This deliberate pause ensures your contributions are meaningful and effective. In personal life, silence can guide you through tough choices, like deciding whether to end a relationship or pursue a new career path. Instead of acting on impulse, take time to reflect on your values, goals, and emotions. Silence helps you tune into your intuition, leading to decisions that feel authentic and aligned. Silence in negotiation. Silence is a powerful tool in negotiation, often overlooked in favor of persuasive arguments or quick responses. When used strategically, silence can shift the dynamics of a conversation, giving you the upper hand and encouraging the other party to reveal more than they intended. I once observed a seasoned negotiator during a high-stakes deal. After presenting his proposal, he fell silent, allowing the other party to process the terms. The silence was uncomfortable, and the other side began to fill it with concessions, offering better terms to avoid the awkward pause. By staying quiet, the negotiator gained valuable insights into their priorities and secured a more favorable deal. In negotiation, silence creates pressure. People often feel compelled to speak to alleviate discomfort, revealing their true intentions or making concessions they hadn't planned. Silence also gives you time to think, assess the other party's position, and craft a thoughtful response. Using silence strategically. To use silence in negotiation, practice restraint after making a point or asking a question. For example, after stating your offer, pause and let the other party respond. Resist the urge to fill the silence with explanations or justifications. This can weaken your position. Instead, maintain eye contact, stay composed, and let the pause work in your favor. In professional negotiations, such as salary discussions, silence can be particularly effective. If an employer offers a lower salary than you expected, don't immediately accept or counter. Pause, nod thoughtfully, and give them a moment to reconsider. This silence signals confidence in your value and may prompt a better offer. In personal negotiations, like deciding household responsibilities with a partner, silence can encourage collaboration. After expressing your perspective, pause to let them share theirs. This creates a balanced dialogue, fostering mutual understanding and compromise. Silence for self-reflection. Beyond its external applications, silence is a powerful tool for self-reflection. In our busy lives, we rarely pause to process our thoughts, emotions, or experiences. Silence creates space for introspection, helping you gain clarity, identify your priorities, and reconnect with your purpose. I make it a habit to spend a few minutes each morning in silence, free from distractions. During this time, I reflect on my goals, challenges, and emotions. This practice has helped me uncover insights I might have missed in the rush of daily life, from recognizing patterns in my behavior to identifying opportunities for growth. Silence has become a sanctuary, a place where I can listen to my inner voice and find direction. Regular self-reflection through silence can transform how you approach life. It allows you to process difficult emotions like stress or grief without judgment. It helps you identify what truly matters, enabling you to focus your energy on meaningful goals. And it fosters resilience as you learn to navigate challenges with a clearer, calmer mind. Building a reflection practice to incorporate silence into your routine. Set aside dedicated time for reflection. This could be a morning meditation, an evening journal session, or a quiet walk without your phone. Start with just 5 minutes, focusing on your breath or a specific question like, "What am I feeling right now?" or "What's most important to me today?" During this time, avoid external distractions like music or notifications. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the present. Over time, this practice will strengthen your ability to stay present and reflective, even in high-pressure situations. In professional life, silence for reflection can enhance your decision-making. Before a big meeting or project deadline, take a few moments to center yourself. Reflect on your goals, anticipate challenges, and visualize success. This pause prepares you to approach the situation with focus and confidence. In personal life, silence can deepen your relationships. For example, if you're feeling frustrated with a loved one, take time to reflect on the root of your emotions before addressing the issue. This silence helps you communicate from a place of clarity and compassion, strengthening your connection. The inner peace of silence at its core. Silence is about cultivating inner peace. In a world that demands constant action, opinions, and responses, silence is a rebellion. It's a reminder that you don't need to react to every provocation, engage in every debate, or fill every moment with words. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence teaches you to step back, to breathe, to find balance amid chaos. It's a gift you give yourself, a moment to reflect, to regain clarity, to reconnect with your purpose. When you master the art of silence, you not only navigate life more effectively, you live with greater peace, wisdom, and strength. This peace extends to your relationships, work, and self-perception. By choosing silence over impulsive reactions, you build trust with others who see you as thoughtful and composed. You enhance your productivity, as silence allows you to focus on what truly matters. And you deepen your self-awareness, as silence helps you understand your emotions, values, and goals. Practical steps to embrace silence, to integrate silence into your life, start with awareness. Notice moments when you feel compelled to speak, whether out of anger, excitement, or the need to prove yourself. Pause and ask, will my words add value, or will silence serve me better? Practice this in small situations, like waiting a beat before responding in a conversation, and gradually apply it to bigger moments. Next, create space for reflection. Set aside time each day to be still, whether through meditation, journaling, or a quiet walk. This habit strengthens your ability to stay silent when it matters most, as it builds the mental discipline to resist impulsive reactions. Finally, observe those who use silence effectively. Watch how leaders, mentors, or wise individuals handle tense situations or big decisions. Their restraint and thoughtfulness can inspire you to adopt similar practices. For example, notice how a respected colleague listens attentively in meetings, speaking only when they have something meaningful to contribute. Emulate their approach, adapting it to your style. Overcoming challenges. Embracing silence isn't always easy. You may worry that staying quiet makes you seem passive or disengaged. To counter this, focus on active listening, nod, maintain eye contact, and use subtle gestures to show you're present. If appropriate, follow up later with a thoughtful response, demonstrating that your silence was a choice, not a lack of interest. You may also struggle with discomfort in silence, especially in negotiations or emotional conversations. Practice tolerating these pauses by starting with low-stakes situations, like waiting a few seconds before responding to a casual question. Over time, you'll become more comfortable with silence and recognize its power. Finally, be patient with yourself. Mastering silence is a journey, not a destination. Celebrate small victories, like choosing not to react to a provocation or pausing before a big decision. Each step builds your confidence and skill, transforming how you navigate life. Conclusion. Silence is not the absence of action. It's a deliberate choice, a powerful tool that can transform how you interact with the world. By staying silent in moments of anger, when you lack information, during excitement, when others share personal struggles, before major decisions, in the presence of greatness, when provoked, in uncertainty, in negotiation, or for self-reflection, you gain control, clarity, and credibility. Silence allows you to listen, learn, and respond with intention, rather than reacting out of impulse or emotion. As you move through life, remember that words are powerful, but silence can be even more so. It's the pause that gives your words weight, the space that fosters understanding, and the discipline that leads to wisdom. Embrace the power of silence, and you'll find yourself navigating life's challenges with greater peace, purpose, and strength. Whether you're diffusing a conflict, making a life-changing decision, or learning from a mentor, silence is your ally. It's a skill that grows with practice, a gift that enriches your life and the lives of those around you. So, the next time you feel the urge to speak, pause. Consider the power of silence, and let it guide you to a wiser, more intentional way of living.